This is Eastern Utah's news and weather station. 107.3 FM and 750 AM. KOAL, Price.
Welcome to Meet the Primary Candidates. Today we hear from Emery County Commissioner candidates David Sebring and Dennis Warwood.
Hello and welcome to Meet the Primary Candidates here on KOAL 107.3 FM and 750 AM, as well as on YouTube on KOAL Castle Country Focus. I'll be your moderator for this evening, Aidan Mortensen. Today, we'll be meeting candidates for Carbon County Commissioner Jared Haddock and Max Jones. Unfortunately, Paul Riddle was unable to join us tonight. Over the next hour, they will be answering questions emailed in by the community. If you want to be involved in future Meet the Candidate events, you can email election2024@koal.net. Again, that is election and not elections with an S. Now, before we get started, I would like to go over the rules and format for the evening. Tonight's event is open to the public, and as such, we'd ask you to avoid cheering or booing or any other such activity that would distract the candidates. Also, at this time, we'd ask you to please silence your cell phone to, again, limit distraction. With primary voting coming up soon, we'd like to go over some dates. In-person early voting is open from Tuesday, June 18th to Friday, June 21st in the Carbon County Administration Building from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For those voting through mail-in ballots, the last day those can be postmarked is Monday, June 24th. On primary election day, which falls on Tuesday, June 25th, the County Administration Building will have voting open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. We'll go over this information again as the evening goes on. The format for tonight's event will be as follows. Outside of the initial introduction and closing questions, in which candidates will have 3 minutes to answer, each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to the question asked. The order of who will answer first has been decided by a coin flip prior to the starting of this event. After the first has had their time to go, the other candidate will have 2 minutes to answer as well. Following the initial 2 minutes, candidates will have an additional 60 seconds to respond or expand on their answers, after which the second person will also have an additional 60 seconds to do the same. We will follow this format throughout the evening. So, starting off with Mr. Jones, you'll have 3 minutes to answer probably the easiest question of the evening, introducing yourself to the public. You'll have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. My name is Max Jones. I was born and raised here in Carbon County. I got a small business, Wilco Supply in Carbon County. I was the chamber president in 2021. My family's had businesses in Carbon County for over 80 years. I care about the people. I think I understand Carbon County a little more than anybody else here. The situations that we've watched, the roller coaster rides in Carbon County and the different things we've seen with coal mines and power plants and the gas fields. And I'd like to see some more things happen in Carbon County, more events than that. And I'd like to just be transparent and accountable for the people of Carbon County and the voice of the people.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you will also have 3 minutes.
Great. I'm Jared Haddock. I came originally from Grand Junction, Colorado. Came here as a student here in this very facility. And met my sweetheart, who is a local, and we've been here ever since. We went on to get our degree. I got a psychology degree and a master's degree in business administration. And we helped with this. I was the director of the Small Business Development Center, the Revolving Loan Fund, and the Economic Development Fund for Southeastern Utah, and kind of gave me a lot of experience and things that I was interested in. That then led to another business enterprise that we worked on, which was building schools in undeserved areas and underserved areas rather. And we built that company from nothing to over 100 million in assets, and we gave 90% of those assets back to the very organizations that we helped to build. It was a good experience, and I'm here because I just love Carbon County. It's been where we've raised our children, and they've been some of the greatest supporters for us in our difficult times.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Moving on to question number 1. We'll start with you, Mr. Jones. Whereas President Biden signed an executive order, aka 30 by 30, in January of 2021 that calls for 30% of all public lands to be administered under conservation management rather than multiple use sustained yield management, what can you, as Carbon County Commissioner, do to protect our economy? Mineral extraction, energy production, historical farm ranch lifestyles, livestock grazing on public lands, timber harvesting, watershed protection, and motorized mechanized recreation. You'll have 2 minutes.
Wow. Well, I think our lands that are open right now and the different things we have, we need to keep open. The swell, what they got going on, and being in local government, we need to voice that and keep that out there of what we want to see as our local government, and not let the feds or back east decide of what we want. We need to keep what green belt and different things we need to for the farmers, and look at different things if they need to be changed. But any land right now, I don't believe should go back to federal and be cut off like we're looking at in the swell. We need to do all we can to keep everything that we can open and local and preserved, and using what we can for our resources.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I understand it. Thank you. So for me, I agree with Max on that. We've got to protect our own land, and when it's controlled by Washington, we have a problem. It's the reason I'm a Republican, which is less federal control and more local control. And so being part of this commissioner race is one of those things that I am trying to do. And I believe it's about building bridges of understanding rather than walls of segregation, as we help to educate other people about what's really going on here. And because if we're not careful, we can lose our freedoms by not being involved. And most of the time, people aren't aware that their rights are being taken from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you'll have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
No, I'm good. I think I got her out the first part.
Mr. Haddock, you will also have an additional 60 seconds if you would like to take it.
I'm good.
Looking at our next question that has been emailed in then, how do you plan on promoting economic growth in Carbon County with the recent decline in coal production? Mr. Haddock, we'll start with you on this one. You'll have 2 minutes.
Well, that is a big concern. I'm glad it's a good question. It's been on my mind since the beginning of this race, and one of the reasons I'm here. Again, one of the reasons I am Republican is to help encourage more of that coal production and other things, and keeping the federal regulation out as often as we can. I do not like that they're trying to shut down our power plant, and but here in Carbon County, our struggle is the coal is that we do have left remaining is kind of difficult to get to, costs more, and I think part of that is some of the regulations as well. I'd like to see some of those go. But I also like to see the investment in the economic development of Blue Skies Energy, which is taking coal and they're converting it to oil that can be used in generators. And they can take what a normal diesel, a gallon of diesel is like $4 something. They can get it down to 30 cents per gallon. And I just think that's an effective use, and they're having the same concerns about coal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you will also have 2 minutes.
Our resources, our coal, like I say, they're gone. We have a couple more power plants to the left, might come back, but we need to do everything we can to look at what gas industry we have. The power plants are gone, so we need to look at, coal's been our mainstream. It's just not there, so we've got to open it up to whatever's available to us and bring in other things to boost our economy. The coal industry, as we've lived on it, but it's just gone. It's not there. I don't even think we have, Skyline is barely considered, I think, in Carbon County. Most of our employees out there, I don't know how much taxes we take, but we need to encourage any new openings that we have and do different things to bring in, of different. We need to bring in some more water to bring these things here. We just don't have the resources right now that I see to bring anything else in, and the economy needs to justify it first.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you will have an additional 60 seconds to respond if you would like it.
I agree. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, you will also have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
I'm good, thank you.
Looking at our next question then, what steps have you taken to learn about the position of commissioner? I.e., have you attended commission meetings? Have you met with department supervisors? Have you studied previous budgets? Do you know the current amount of debt that is carried over year to year? Mr. Jones, we'll start with you on this one, and you will have 2 minutes.
Yes, I have been out meeting with different people. I've been out to the gun range, to the event centers and different things, looking at what we need to. I try to attend Wednesday's meetings when they come up, if not watch them online, of what's going on out there in Carbon County and the decisions we're making of where our money's going. I've looked a little bit at the budget. I haven't got to look at it all in detail. There's a whole bunch of departments I've looked, but like I said, I've been out to the road department and I've talked to them. I talked to Scott out at the gun range the other day. We got a lot of great resources out here. So I've talked to Kay Clausmo, the old treasurer there, and our new soon-to-be treasurer, some other people in the office there, and see their thoughts of the administrative building and how they feel and how things work and what they want to see changed and what we can do different there to make things better, or just, make a little better. It's not that things are horrible, but there's always things that can be a little different and taken care of a different way.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you will also have 2 minutes.
Yes, I've been attending the commissioner meetings and also as often as I can. And those that I can, I try to watch online to better understand. No matter who gets this position, the one thing I do know after talking to all the current commissioners and even past commissioners is that there is going to be a steep learning curve. It's just almost impossible to go into the job thinking you know everything. And even the budgets as they are, there's usually information that we call it that isn't easily explained by just looking at the budget itself. And so that's what I've tried to do, and I've also spent a lot of time with the current auditor and state auditors to try to understand the tax issue and how the money comes in. I know that one of the questions you asked was about our budget, and I know that's about $27 million that we bring in every year for all the county proceeds. Although what's important to understand too is that not all that is county money. I mean, it comes into the county, but the county only gets about 20% and 20.1% in the city, and they only receive about 30% in the unincorporated areas.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you will have an additional minute to respond or expand if you would like it.
I also have reached out to a couple other counties commissioners and talked to them about their roles and what they see in their counties and what I can prepare for and how these things and how they do with different things. So I've reached out with at least 2 different counties I've talked to, and on the 5-person council I'd like to see this go to in the future of how those are operated. I printed out the description of the commissioners on their job detail and kind of read what the basic description is on there of their role as a commissioner, being the body of Carbon County also. So
thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you will also have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
I think I covered it. Thank you.
Moving on to our next question then. What are the top 3 issues facing Carbon County, and how do you plan to fix those issues? Mr. Haddock, we'll start with you on this one, and you will have 2 minutes.
That is a loaded question for 2 minutes. So the top 3, let me start with the first one, is obviously the tax issue. The second one would be an increase of transparency, which is just, helping to make more information viable to the community. The third thing is, I would say, just unifying the cities in the county and helping to create some more cooperation among them is what I would suggest. The first one is like I said, a very loaded question. I don't know if any of us can actually solve that, but I did find out some important information about it, like that there's been a huge shift in the centrally assessed taxes to the locally assessed. In the last 5 years, it's went from about 52% to 70.79% in 2023. And, with the budget of 27 million, it becomes quite significant, the amount of money that has been lost. What's interesting is that it hasn't only happened here in Carbon County, but in every county in the state. And so we're kind of getting beat up about that, and that's why everybody's so upset about taxes, because everybody's across the state have increased. The solution would be to unify the best that we can with other counties in the coalition and to help to fight those assessments, because some of those properties that on the centrally assessed are 1/10 the value as they used as the neighboring property. That's a pretty significant loss. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you will also have 2 minutes.
Okay, well, yeah, it depends who you talk to on what the top 3 things are. Number one, in everybody's taxes is always a concern. Everybody doesn't want to pay more taxes on anything, and I don't blame them. None of us do here. The commissioner's job isn't part of what the assessor's job is. The assessor's probably the second problem we have, and we fix that. The commissioners have addressed that and taken what we've gone. So election period, we should have that fixed. Taxes, as commissioner, that's your assessor's job. As commissioners, we come in, as I understand it, and look if there needs to be an overall raise, and if money's not coming in, why that has to be there. Okay, so that's not the commissioner's total job, but that's always the number one problem in Carbon County's taxes. Property taxes, if you're at your cabin or at your house. So that needs to be addressed. Why are they so high? What else can we do? Can we bring more events in? Are there different things we need to do? Do we need to cut back? I don't know what to do exactly till I'm in there and start seeing what really needs to be done and what we can do. So those are the first 2 big questions, and then it's just either depends who you want to ask for the third one. Me personally, the reason I'm up here, I think we misspend our money as a county, and we need to address that. That's part of the problem out there. So these things need to be looked at and seen why, and why we're not taking care of Carbon County first and keeping our money local like we preach, and taking care of our citizens and businesses.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you'll have an additional 60 seconds if you'd like to use it.
Sure. I only got through one of my goals, but the second one that we talked about was transparency. And it isn't that anybody's trying to hide anything, but it's just trying to help break it down. Like the commissioner meetings, I think we could just do a quick little summary at the end of each commission meeting to help explain to everybody what happened. The other thing is being able to have a 5 or 10 year plan that we can show as a vision of where we're projecting things, where we hope to be in about 5 to 10 years as a county. Because right now we've been paying off a lot of debt, but I don't think that a lot of people are aware of that. And then the third thing rather would be that we just do kind of a state of the county address, maybe once a year, where we just kind of let everybody know this is where we started and this is where we finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you will also have an additional 60 seconds if you'd like to use it.
I'm good, thank you.
Moving on to our next question then. Do you believe that tax incentives are necessary to attract new businesses to Carbon County? Mr. Jones, we'll start with you on this one, and you will have 2 minutes.
That's a twisted question. I hate to get a whole bunch of business owners already in town mad at me, but yes, I do. I think they need to come with stipulations, though. When we do these things, we try to get bigger people in here. We're going to give them a tax break and incentive, but there needs to be, if we're going to hire X amount of people, it needs to hit that goal before we just give them, is my thoughts on there has to be that.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you will also have 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you. I agree that we do need tax incentives. I worked in economic development long before now, and saw how it worked in eastern Utah, that we're in some of these rural areas without any kind of incentive, they won't come. The one that I like was like what we did for Intermountain Electronics, which was more of it wasn't just an incentive to come here, but it was more performance based. And so therefore it was dependent upon the number of jobs that was created. And when that happens, that's how we help replace many of the jobs that were lost in our coal industry and others. And in fact, they just barely projected, Intermountain Electronics, that they could have the same number of jobs by 2026 as those that we have lost in the coal industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you'll have 60 seconds to respond or expand if you would like it.
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Haddock, you will also have 60 seconds then to expand or respond.
Good, thank you.
Looking at our next question then, do you prefer raising property taxes on homeowners or reducing services or layoffs to balance the budget? Mr. Haddock, we'll start with you on this one, and you will have 2 minutes.
As mentioned earlier, I'm very sensitive about the property taxes and the costs that it is adding to everybody. And it's not just the regular people, but that's one of the reasons I ran was a nice lady had come up to me and just said, I can't afford to keep paying the property tax and my medicine. Now, I've since learned there's many abatements that could have been available, and we're doing what we can on that, but I'm very sensitive about that. And I think it would be better to cut services than to continue to increase that, because what's happening is we're creating we're kind of creating a poverty and a need because the taxes are so high. And it's only just within the last few years as the property taxes have increased, and there's been that shift from the centrally to the locally assessed.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you will also have 2 minutes to respond.
No, taxes, we need to pay taxes. We have to have the services we need. We need good roads. We have to have lights. We have to have water. You have to have taxes there. We just have to watch them so we're not taxed out of here and do something different in the environment out there. What it be if we have to trim the fat, as they'd say, or look, we got some extra things we need to do with, if that's what it needs to be before any other high services go. So some things, yes, there's probably some different things we need to do to cut back before taxes get raised again, or do some things different. That's why I'm here, is we need to do some things different before we just automatically raise property taxes in Carbon County. The citizens, business owners, cabin owners, they just can't, these landowners can't afford it. We need to address if we have different land that needs to be changed out of certain areas, or what we need to do first, or if we need to just trim some things back.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you'll have an additional 60 seconds if you would like.
Yeah, there's also another thing that we're already currently doing, that the current commissioners are already doing, and that is taking some of the county property that they had already owned and turning it out and selling it. And therefore that adds more properties to those, more property tax to our basis. And I think those are great incentives and great ways to help limit some of our costs and help lighten the burden of everybody else around.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you will also have 60 seconds to respond if you'd like it.
I'm good, thank you.
Looking at our next question then, as both of you are business owners, there are potential concerns regarding conflicts of interest about how should the county engage in business with your respective companies. How do you plan to address and avoid any conflicts of interest if you are elected? Mr. Jones, we'll start with you on this one, and you will have 2 minutes.
Well, I guess how you look at a conflict of interest, my business, Wilco Supply, does very little business with the county right now, and that's why I've been running. So I don't have a lot of business to be a conflict of interest at my business, doing business with it. I would like to, if I move forward past June 25th, be the voice of the people and try to do something different with my business. I don't know what that'll be, finding a manager yet, selling it, I don't know. I'd like to take care of Carbon County and get in there. Like I say, right now, even if I keep full ownership and don't do anything, the little bit of business I do and wouldn't, I've got a salesman that deals with the county, wouldn't and isn't a conflict of interest in my eyes right now.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you will also have 2 minutes to respond.
Yes, none of my businesses that have have anything to do with the county. I guess I do have a few properties that might be in consider there, in which case I just recuse myself from any decision-making ability on any of those properties that I'd have anything to do with.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you will have 60 seconds to respond or expand if you'd like it.
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Haddock, you will also have the opportunity for 60 additional seconds if you would like it.
I'm good, thank you.
Looking at our next questions, then, these ones were sent in that are more tailored towards each of you. So you will have still the normal 2 minutes to answer and then an additional minute to expand. We'll start with you, Mr. Haddock. So you own your own business, but you do not do any of that business in Carbon County. Why should the residents of Carbon County trust that you are a champion for our county when you do not do business here? You'll have 2 minutes.
Actually, our business, we did build a lot of schools from outside the area in the different states, although we chose to stay and live here. And we've been there for many years. I have since, and since that time, my current business, remember, it was a nonprofit organization. Therefore, we would get nonprofit tax-exempt bonds in order to help lower the interest rates for schools. And that's why we formed ourselves as a nonprofit. Since we've moved out of most of those schools, we changed our status of our nonprofit to be more of a community-based nonprofit. Therefore, our businesses, or many of them, actually reside in the county.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, your question will be, you have expressed strong negative feelings toward various elected officials, department heads, and employees within the Carbon County local government. Given this context, how do you plan to foster a positive working relationship with these individuals and ensure a productive and collaborative atmosphere if elected commissioner? You will have 2 minutes.
Well, I've talked to some of the employees there, and I guess I'd have to disagree on who I am. I'm hard to get along with that. Let's put it that way. I guess I'm not always the right answer for you, but I don't think the county has done the right things of keeping our money here, spending our money here. They misspend it. So I was talking to, like I say, there's a lot of employees I've talked to out there firsthand that work for the county, and I hate to even name where they're at because of that things that these come back. But I have no hatred for anybody. I've tried to work with these guys. I've talked to Tony, Larry, and Casey personally, been in all of their offices the last couple months trying to talk to them about these issues of the county and that I have. I've got nothing but love for this county. I want to do everything I can. I want to be the voice of people, and I want to stand up for what I believe. Will it always fit with everybody? No. I might ruffle some feathers out there. I'm not going to be everybody's guy. I'm not everybody's favorite. But I'm going to give you the truth, and we're going to get through it, and we're going to do the right thing for the county.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you'll have an additional 60 seconds to expand or respond.
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Jones, you will also have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
I'm good, thanks.
Looking at our next question then, how will you promote transparency in county government and making sure that residents are informed and involved in the decision-making process? Mr. Jones, we'll start with you on this one, and you will have 2 minutes.
Well, I'd like to be, and I've talked a lot about being accountable and transparent in Carbon County, and for me, that's just being when somebody comes up and answering or asking questions in meetings or different things on emails, Facebook, of going out there and being. So if we have an issue in Carbon County, the dog pound's a great one. They had over there some things going on, and you didn't see none of our commissioners come out and talk on the behalf of the dog pound, which I just didn't think's right. As a commissioner, I'd like to come out and at least say, hey, yeah, I personally went out there, I looked at this, I checked out what's going on. I personally have talked to these employees. I've done what I think we should. So I want to be open with the public. You got a question? My phone number, my email's all been out there since January for the public with any questions. My Facebook's open for any comments, questions, or concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you will also have 2 minutes to answer.
So for me, I'd kind of already touched on this on my other answers about how we can provide greater information. But the other thing I'd like to add to that is do many of the same things that's being done in other counties. So again, Carbon County is not the only one where the commissioners are kind of been under attack because of tax issues and other things. And so they've created an entire web page and frequently asked questions where they can help and kind of put it in writing what the big issues are, and just help to promote that wherever we can. And there's going to be people who won't even look at it, but at least there's a good resource, and we already have a good start on that. I'm just saying I think we could add to that by looking at what the other counties have done, and because it just helps to educate. The more our community's educated, the more they understand why the commissioners are making the decisions that they are, and then you're going to have a lot less resistance at the end.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you will have 60 seconds to expand or respond if you would like it.
Good, thank you.
Mr. Haddock, you will also then have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
I'm good, thanks.
Looking at our next question then, the job of county commissioner comes with a sizable benefits and salary package. Did this play into your decision to run for county commissioner? Mr. Haddock, we'll start with you on this one, and you will have 2 minutes.
Absolutely not. For me, it is sizable, but it's also just a little bit over half-time or half-time wages, but it's a required full-time position. And so I'll actually have to adjust most of my other work in order to put in the additional, the full 40-hour workload. That it did not take any, if anything, it was a little bit of a detriment. My motive, my goal, my whole purpose was just to try to help and give back a little gratitude for the county that helped me and my family and all that we've been through. And I love it. There's a reason I'm here. I've seen other places, but I just find no better place than Carbon County.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you will also have 2 minutes.
No, it definitely did not. The pay is probably, honestly, for the job low. For a lot of, look in the county and pull up, they're all public records of what these people make, and there's a lot more jobs in there that probably need to be looked at. Commissioner probably should honestly make more at the end of the day. I'm not looking to give a raise when I go in there. I want to take care of Carbon County. I believe in Carbon County, and I believe in its people and business. And the money wasn't a factor. I make, at work is better, and I'm not going to put up with as much, I guess. Let's put it that way. Going into this is almost you're not going to make everybody happy. 50% of the time, you're going to have 50% of the people happy one time and 50% mad one time, and then next time you're going to have that other 50. We're going to vice versa. So you're almost asking to go in and signing up for a hated job of wanting people to go in and not like you and make tough decisions. So the money, no, is not a factor. Like I say, there's plenty of other jobs in the county that I think do less and get paid probably 2 to 3 times as much. So.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you'll have 60 additional seconds if you'd like it.
No, thank you.
Mr. Jones, then you
good,
will also have
thank
60 seconds. Moving on to our next question then. You all own your own businesses. How many hours a week will you dedicate to working on the business of Carbon County? Mr. Jones, we'll start with you on this one, and you will have 2 minutes.
Well, I don't think there's a definition of hours. I think it's well over a full-time job of 40 hours of putting in there. If it be in the office, out in the field, being with your people, meetings, taking care of different things in the county. This isn't a part-time job. I see this to be a full-time. Like I say, if it's on the phone at nights, taking care of things in the morning, weekends, addressing things, being at meetings and events and different things that I believe our county commissioner should be the face of when they're out there and representing us. I don't think there's a time limit, but it's a full-time job and well over 40 hours.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you will also have 2 minutes to respond.
I agree. There's definitely a 40-hour work week, if not more, sometimes. Because because when there's issues that come up, sometimes it's going to be even longer than that. And we have to be really accessible all the time. You know, I watch the commissioners now, and they're often getting calls with, you know, at all hours, sometimes of the night when there's ever issues. And, you know, it is going to be a challenge. But I'm adjusting my businesses and stuff so that I can, you know, dedicate the proper amount of time to do it right.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you will have an additional 60 seconds if you'd like it.
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Haddock, you will also have an additional 60 seconds if you would like to use it.
No, I'm good, thanks.
Now, before we get into our final question, I'd like to thank you both for coming out and participating in this event. It's been a very informative and engaging night. And again, for this closing question, you'll each have 3 minutes to respond, and then an additional 60 seconds after you've both answered to further expand or elaborate on your answers. And this final question is pretty simple. Why should the residents of Carbon County vote for you? We will start with Mr. Jones or Mr. Haddock on this one, and you will have 2 minutes.
Well, I think that's a, again, loaded question, right? I've spent most of my life, you know, even here in a little bit of anonymity and enjoying the time working just in the background, not trying to promote myself in any way, shape, or form. To me, it's all about leadership, and leadership is all about service. It's not about recognition. It's not about the money. And my whole purpose is I just felt that I could have an impact, and I felt that, you know, I've managed budgets that are the same amount of money that is being budgeted right now for our county, and felt that I can bring that added experience in, you know, bring kind of an international and national approach to some of our local problems, because they've had issues. They've had a lot of the same issues. Why are we reinventing the wheel? Just utilize our partnerships and friendships from other people in other areas who are dealing with the exact same things that we're dealing with here. And so really that's where I'm coming in from, is just kind of you know, as they say, the fresh perspective out there. Doesn't mean anything's bad about the other one, but it's being able to have an outside look in. I'm just a outside the box kind of person, a big picture guy. That's what I love, and so that's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haddock. Mr. Jones, you'll have 3 minutes to answer the same question. Why should the residents of Carbon County vote for you?
Carbon County's, you should vote for me. I'm a business owner, landowner here in Carbon County. I love this county. I've been here all my life. I'm not part of the Good Old Boys Club already. I've got a different way of thinking, of going in there, taking care of things with some different ideas. I'm not afraid to ruffle feathers, to go in and ask the tough questions, and ask people, you know, if they don't want to hear it. You've already heard, people don't want me up in there because I ruffle feathers and I go against the grain. I'm going to be the voice of Carbon County. It might not be everybody's voice at once, but we're going to do what's right. We're going to try to change some things and bring some different events and great things in this county so taxes don't keep going up, and to keep business owners here, keep attracting business and different businesses here, to see what we can do for water and the future of our kids and businesses in Carbon County.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Haddock, you'll have an additional 60 seconds if you'd like.
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Jones, then you will also have an additional 60 seconds if you would like it.
No, thank you. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you. And again, I would like to thank both of you for taking the time out of your schedule to come join us for this event. We would also like to thank Utah State University Eastern for letting us use their facilities this evening. These events, in my opinion, are very informative and important to keeping the public informed on issues and getting them involved with local elections. As a reminder, early in-person voting will be held Tuesday, June 18th until Friday, June 21st in the Carbon County Administration Building from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For those of you who are voting through mail-in ballots, the last day those can be postmarked is Monday, June 24th. Primary Election Day falls on Tuesday, June 25th, and the Carbon County Administration Building will have voting open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. Again, you've been watching Meet the Primary Candidate. It's for Carbon County Commissioner. You can also watch or listen to this again on demand on our YouTube channel, KOAL, Castle Country Focus. And from all of us here, thank you for listening to KOAL 107.3 FM and 750 AM. And for KOAL News, I'm Aiden Mortensen. Good night.